They should be able to hear me, and they should be able to hear you, I think. There we go. All right, who is watching?
Awesome.
Streams current bitrate, yada, yada, yada. All right, you guys can hear both me and Tankenstein, right? I would hope.
Oh.
I reset my
Possibly.
settings. I had to fix some bitrate issues and mess with my settings.
Uh, I'm. There have been so many times where I used to. I mean, up until recently, whenever I would try to stream, I would. There have been several times where like I've been in a 1 hour stream because I typically don't stream much if I do at all, and like for a long time, and I didn't realize it, but my voice was off. And so, like, people would be talking in voice chat, and I'd be responding to or text chat. I'd be responding to them, but no one could hear me, so I was just talking to myself, which is a bit unfortunate.
I had the last teaser trailer reaction I had. What happened was there was no audio, and I didn't realize it, and everybody watched the trailer without audio. So, anyways, all right, guys. Welcome back to the Salty Platoon podcast. It has been a very, very long time, and here with me I have Tankenstein,
Hey,
the grand boy. So I just wanted to get together with him again, just for someone to kind of talk to about this, because I figure you probably have some questions about kind of the fallout, I guess you could say, of the whole boycott situation, the player union. I've been pretty much MIA for like the past week and a half, 2 weeks now, I think it is, because I just moved into an apartment, so I can. It's gonna be a bit echoey in here too. I'm sure people will notice that. But yeah, I don't know. Do you have any questions for me? You want me to just kind of start spitballing, or?
I mean, it's up to you, you know. I mean, ultimately, when it comes down to it, is we're kind of in crunch time. A lot of people they get excited about the whole boycott thing and all of that, but whether or not people realize it, we're within 2 days of Gaijin releasing their so-called roadmap. So this is really it. This is what everything's been working for, and even though the fervor has died down noticeably on pretty much all communities related to War Thunder, whether it's the forums, the Reddit, Discords, regarding the boycott, we are now at the time that they've been at least starting to work for. I mean, of course, the roadmap is not action. I mean, it's action as in they're giving us words, and so we can't just take it at face value, or we can't just take them for what they say. But this is still something, if nothing else, what a
Yeah.
lot of people want to see, at least for now.
I think it's funny to me because, well, I guess I'll backtrack a bit. So before I get to that, so when I joined their Discord because I first heard about it, obviously everyone saw um, the whole economy changes thing, and then I think kind of between that and me joining the Discord, I heard about something was going on, and then I think I had just joined the Discord, and I realized that they kind of had there was some potential there because they had this like really well planned out server in a way. I
Yeah,
mean, it was originally made as a joke by the server owner because I guess it all really started on Reddit from what I understand, and then
yeah,
obviously it poured over into Discord. But I saw that there was some potential. There was already some like moderation set up, but they just didn't really have a plan, and they didn't have any resources to get anything together. So that's kind of why, they reached out to a lot of content creators. And then they just kind of asked me for help, and I just figured because a lot of other people, obviously internally, you probably read on the CC side of things, it was pretty mixed feelings about the Discord and the
mm,
situation. And of course, it being a massive public Discord, it's going to turn into a bit of a cesspool like anything else, really. But I did work with a few core people there, moderators and whatnot, and we did a couple of, I guess they're called stages on Discord, where basically like one person, like people can raise their hand in air quotes, and they can talk or whatever. So over the course of a couple of days, I helped them um, just gather some information and some suggestions on a document they were already working on at the time. And then I was like, look, because some of the guys helping me out asked me like, what does the CCs think of this? I said, well, obviously it's like it's mixed views, whatever. But I said, like, I can tell you from a CC standpoint, like, this, and this is not going to fly because it's just, like, a lot of it was just too random. So what I did is I kind of helped them trim down a lot of the bloat and a lot of the fat, you could say, on the proposal they had.
Yeah.
And then after that, I started running into, like a roadblock almost, because a lot of the people there that were admins and mods or whatever just kind of just showed up and they needed moderation, and they were like, oh, I'll moderate because blah, 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 blah reason. And so the entire time there was like this constant, I wouldn't say a power struggle, but there was this constant internal argument over like, how do we structure moderation? What are the rules? Blah, 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 blah. And then I think they went through like 2 different restructurings of moderation. And I was a moderator, like I had the role. I really didn't do anything moderation wise. I was just working with some other admins and mods that weren't even caring about that at all either, to work in the document. And then we kind of had something going, and I wanted to post a poll on the document, because I think it was right after. So we had the initial rollback, and then the Steam reviews happened, and then that was kind of when I was in the Discord, and then they released that complete gaslighting article. that was fucking stupid.
Yeah.
And so after that, of course, like I had my one podcast, or I guess it was a podcast episode, not really, but I just had a stream kind of going over that and ranting about that. And fuck, where am I going with that? And so then afterwards, I think Gaijin released that second post where they kind of apologized or whatever. Yeah. And it was kind of in the middle of us having the document together, where I was like, okay, Gaijin just came out and they just said, we're going to have a roadmap together by the 14th. So I was like, you know, it's crunch time here. And I was met with some resistance by specific admins at the time who kind of were out of the loop because of like time zone. And this was like a period of like 3 to 4 days of us being in VCs with random community members and other CCs and going through this whole thing, that they didn't want me to release it because it, like, I mean, it still needed a little tweaking, but it was just a draft. But they wanted like a completely 110% unanimous like agreement on what to do. And I was like, but you're not in the loop, really? Like, what do you know what I mean? Like, what are you really doing?
Yeah.
And so that was kind of the situation I faced the whole time going through it. But I did eventually get the poll out there because I got mod permission so I could get access to the announcement channel, to like at the server with the poll and blah, 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 which it all got buried in other random crap. And then I guess like kind of, I'll skip ahead a little bit. I guess kind of the last straw for me was, of course, there was constant just moderator just issues with, you know, people just kind of like, I mean, some people were coming in and they were saying they were a content creator and they were getting mod or CC role. And I'm like, this person isn't a content creator. They're not in the content creator program. They don't have, you know what I mean? Like they're not active enough. Like you can just tell from their view count stuff. Like they made a couple of videos that were really high ranking. But they're not in the program. They never joined the Discord or anything. Like there's no record of them.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of that, which was kind of annoying, and a lot of community members were asking for some sort of transparency, like, well, what's going on with the document? What are our plans? And then, you know, me trying to be more of a representative. Of course, I'm not saying I'm alone in this. There was a few others, like Ash was there to kind of just be a resource for some questions that even I can't answer. Mm-hmm. And there was a few others, of course, that did try to help a little bit. But it came down to, like, what do you got? What's your plan? Because I had said, this is by the time we got like an actual like solid document going, like it was totally rewritten by some guys that like really know how to form something nice.
Yeah.
And I wanted to again release it to the Discord for people to check out, and there was this whole like political like kind of just bullshit to the whole thing where people were like, well, is that the stance of blah, 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 blah. And it's like, you got a server of over 10,000 members of multiple different nationalities from across the world that want to know what's going on. You know what I mean? And it's just, it slowly devolved into that kind of infighting. So that was kind of the final straw for me, was them not really wanting to tell anybody what was going on. And it wasn't because they were like facetious, maybe is not the right word, but it's not, it was like an intentional not wanting to release it in like a sabotage way. It was just like people not being up to speed and there being too many cooks in the kitchen, I guess you could say. And I didn't want to, I was offered to take over the entire Discord, and I was like, I just can't do that because like I'm getting ready to move here, and it's just like if I took over the Discord, I mean, it would have gone a completely different direction, maybe for the better, maybe for the worse, I don't know, but there was a lot of shit. So I guess the final straw, if I'll get to that point, was when the boycott technically started on the 26th, and I kind of woke up and everybody was just kind of just doing willy-nilly shit. And I was like, is there going to be an official statement? Like at the top of the Discord, it said like, there was an event or something like the War Thunder boycott has started today, blah, blah, blah. Don't play or pay for anything in the game, whatever. And it was like 2,000 people were like following it. And I'm like, there's no official announcement or anything. And they're like, no, we're just kind of doing whatever. And I'm like, okay, you're running a server of like at this point 13,000 people, I think 12,000, 13,000 people. And the boycott started today, and we're like, you know, time zone wise at completely different points. I'm like, you guys haven't said anything. And like some of these guys are European, you know, they've been up way earlier than us. And so I said to the server owner at the time, I said, give me admin permission so I can type in the announcement channel, because they changed how the permissions work. And I said, I'm going to type something that I think is pretty middle of the road, that is kind of just a general reminder, like, hey, today's the boycott, blah, 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 whatever. Now, of course, that channel's been deleted, which I'll maybe go into later. But I basically said, look, I was like, it's not a union. Like, the union is just a name for the Discord and the movement, if you want to call it that. But it's a boycott, right? It's consumers not liking a product that a producer's making. And this is just common sense. If you're making a product and you change that product, or whatever way you make the majority of your customers unhappy, even if people say, you know, it's a vocal minority, whatever. But it's just, I'm sure most people in the game, whether they function on Discord or Reddit or not or whatever, are really discontent with the game's current state. But it's like, if you don't like the product that you're consuming, then you as a consumer have the right, and you should protest, you should boycott that product. And it's simple as just not paying for anything and going as far as to not play the game entirely and to go do something else. And I think I had a pretty legit message. I think I still have, maybe my Reddit post is still up there, which is similar. And immediately after I posted that, I got added by admins, and they were thinking of like taking it down because they were like, well, that's not the stance of the WTPU. And I said, well, you haven't really been around to do anything, no offense. But like the server owner, and I talked to I would say the majority of the moderators in VC specifically, and on top of the stages, where like one of the final ones, we kind of came to the conclusion of what I wrote up was actually the stance of the player union, and was kind of I would say a pretty genuine message. And then that just pissed me off. I was just like, look, like I've been trying to help you guys at every road. I've asked you, you know, what do you plan to do? How do you plan to send something to Gaijin? And it was met with vague answers from just random people that, in my opinion, really shouldn't have been on the higher up team of the server, or really taking control of any sort of organization or production of something useful. Because, I mean, sadly, the union and everything is what it is, but there was potential and there was something productive to have. It just, unfortunately, it didn't work that way. And that was kind of what sent me off, was on the start of the boycott, I was met by even more resistance. And I'm just like, none of you, the people that really can make a proper message, like no one convened in the mod chat and said, hey, like, what's this message? Because the whole time I was on that server was people just asking, what's going on? What's our stance? Blah, 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 blah. And every time a decision was made, unfortunately, by me or like a few others that were maybe working more in depth on the proposal, it was just met by just constant bullshit, basically. So I ended up leaving, and I've only just rejoined literally, well, technically 2 days ago, I think it was, but I hadn't looked at it until this morning, which it's a whole other thing now, but it's a bit long-winded story. But yeah, that's from my point of view. I know you were on the Discord too, right? You were just observing pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, my role in the Discord was minor, to say the least.
Tankenstein?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Oh shit! Hold on. My bad. My headset died.
Oh, no worries.
I can't hear. I think stream can hear it, but my headset just died.
Yeah.
There was no sound. My bad.
Oh, no worries. Yeah, let me know whenever you want me to.
No, you're fine. I saw you talking, but I was really confused. My bad.
So I'm good to go now?
Yeah, you're good.
Cool. Yeah, so, I mean, ultimately, my role in the server, it wasn't even a role, really. I mean, extremely minor might be a good way to put it. There's one guy who I have to respond to, and I'm terrible. I'm sure you know, I'm terrible with my Discord DMs. Really, really bad. And so I do still have to respond to the one person I spoke to in that Discord, but I mean, from everything I've heard, it's just as exactly as you said. Just a lot of dysfunction, a lot of like people, like there were messages, like even simple messages that could be sent, general messages, and then it would just be some sort of nebulous response, or just people who kind of like gum up the gears, so to speak, and it's just, they're not real leaders, but more so just people who want to be in a position of, power, so to speak. Not that a Discord mod is any sort of power at all, but, I guess it feels like it for some people. And, ultimately just kind of, yeah, I mean, it just seems like the message, it's a simple message, in my opinion. It's just boycotts here. Don't purchase, or if you want, don't purchase and don't play. There were some people who were playing, but they weren't purchasing.
Yeah.
And that's it. Or a little bit more than that, but just to make something as background, if you will, as an event, and then on top of that, how many of their mods, like I remember actually going on the Players Union Discord that day, the first day of the boycott, and I was like going up and down, like just checking out the mods, what they were doing, and like numerous of them were playing War Thunder.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Like at least like hide your activity, dude. Like, I mean, I don't care if you're playing it, but like it was just kind of funny to me, even though there were a few different ways to participate, obviously, in the in the boycott. It was just a little funny to me, and as somebody in your chat says, LARPers is the word, and that's probably true. They're kind of live action role playing a boycott or the
there were some people that were there from like the eastern communities, like Russia, China area, that like I get there were areas where communism at one point was existed, but there was some serious like genuine like belief that it was a union. I was like, you don't work for Gaijin. You're not a fucking union. It's just an organized boycott. That's all it is. I was like, and that's what I said in a lot of my messages. I tried to stay consistent with my message.
Of course.
And again, like my message, like there was a couple of official messages from them eventually. But I felt like I was kind of the only one making an official message for the Discord for a while, and it was getting kind of tiresome. And another thing with this, maybe like the mods and the admins in general was, especially when the boycott started, was some of them were playing, and then some of them were booting people for playing the game and streaming it in the voice chat at the exact same time. Like, it was like, I don't, like, how fucking short-sighted or tunnel visioned are you? Like, really? And I warned the server owner in the beginning when I got there. I said, look, I was like, you got to be careful who you approve into the mod program, and who you add as content creators as well. Because they were like, they went out and they reached out to a bunch of CCs, and then they put all of our names up on some like text channel where it was like people that are supporting the boycott. And I said, look, guys. And some others, like Ash was one of them, and came out. I was like, whoa. Ash and Oddballs especially, because they're pretty big YouTubers for those who are on the Discord. like, whoa. We're just here. We're asking questions and stuff. We're not coming out and stating that we support the boycott. Like, I may have been one of the only people on there that I would be okay with my name being up there in a way. Yeah. Because it was just like, yeah, like I'm not, like, I'm supporting it by like actively participating and trying to do something productive with a proposal, but I was like, you know what I mean? Like, these guys definitely aren't. They're just here as resources or asking questions. So, it's just a lot of that was just down to the moderators just being so incredibly stupid. Because when I joined, like, I said, like, to some people that were questioning, I said, I think they have pretty decent moderation. But that was because I wasn't paying attention to like a bunch of specific chats, and then I was being literally, I would say honestly, harassed on the daily by certain people with pings in Discord about shit, about like, oh yeah, great moderation, and then it just became to a point where it was just like, okay, I almost had like an Andrew Tate response. You know the meme where he says, "What color is your Bugatti?" Like, I almost was gonna respond to some people with like. Like, what are you doing? Like, you're just sitting in, like, ironically, this is the thing that I have a problem with, and this goes out to more than, like, a specific group of people. Anybody who was making fun of the WTPU and calling it a circle jerk while simultaneously being in a circle jerk was peak irony, because it's like, you're just in a circle jerk of the anti-thing. You're not really better than the people that you're making fun of that are in their own little echo chamber circle jerk. It really was just a lot of Discord drama that isn't productive. And I was trying to get people to be productive and understanding. Now, of course, I understand, it's the internet. Like, it is what it is. Like, you can't force people to listen. You can't force people to boycott. You can only hand out suggestions. But I think there was a lot of as Temper said, that with the LARPers, there was a lot of people that thought that it was something more than just an organized boycott, that they were treating, like, one admin in particular at the time was like something I'm kind of paraphrasing here, but it was like, we have to be like more political about things, like we can't just be rash. And I was like, look, Gaijin's making moves, bud. They just came out with an article saying that they got something going on the 14th and they're going to start taking suggestions, so you better get with the fucking program. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not democracy. Yeah. You're not the Trump campaign team, okay? It's like, it's just a Discord.
Yeah, exactly. You wait too long, and I don't know if I'm missing the point with saying this, but like, it, again, this is just me from an outside perspective too, but like, you wait too long, and then out of nowhere, it's like you said, they did it. Gaijin went ahead and they said, okay, we're releasing a roadmap. And for all we know, that roadmap could come out tomorrow. Which, by the way, tomorrow doesn't seem like the day that the update's coming out, which I'm actually genuinely surprised about. Yeah. I'm really surprised about that. But I guess it makes some level of sense. They might release it after the update. Or after the roadmap, rather. But regardless, Gaijin is making moves, and it's just like, you can't just delegate things until, whenever. You have to just kind of, somebody like yourself would just have to take action and say, this is what we're going to say. And if the general community agrees with the general, message, cool. That's it. It shouldn't be taken down by one or two people. I heard, like you said, especially when it comes to the Eastern community, there were like a lot, because that's typically the part of the world associated with communism, like that there was a lot of that, and it was just like, whoa, dude, like,
Yeah, there was like
yeah,
some fanatical, like I saw like today on the Reddit, like some people were shit talking, like saying it was a bunch of leftists that failed. I'm
yeah.
like, buddy, I'm not a fucking leftist, okay?
Oh yeah,
Like
I
the
remember.
way I act on the shit I said about guys, and like, bro, I ain't no fucking leftist, okay?
Yeah,
I'm not sitting there. I'm not asking for free shit. Like, and that's the thing too. A bunch of people chalk it up to just being a bunch of players with like a skill issue, and it's like,
yep.
okay, there's people from the bare bones noob to have a better KD and a better win rate than 90% of the player base, and they're saying,
Yep.
look, this is fucked up. Like
Yep.
and that was kind of where I was coming from. Like I just today I hopped back on War Thunder to play with some friends since I finally got my internet hooked up and everything. And of course I was playing the Sav 120, which you could argue is pretty overpowered, but like 6 matches in a row, 3 of them being full up tiers, we just slaughtered the enemy. As like I haven't played the game in quite literally like 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks. And I'm able to just pull number 1 slot 6 games in a row, 3 of them being up tiers out of my ass. You know what I mean? It's like I am in no way a bad player with a skill issue, and it's like, and I'm playing low tier premium vehicle. Of course, I'm not playing just that vehicle. I spawn in a plane or whatever, but it's like, and I'm getting, I would say, maybe a little bit above average SL for that tier. I don't play low tier a lot anymore, but it's, to me, it's not a lot of Silver Lions. And I only have 7-8 million Silver Lions right now because like what, a month and a half ago now, I got my monthly bonus as a tier 1 CC, which I can ask for up to 5 million SL. 5 million SL is fucking nothing.
Yeah.
At the state of the game that I'm at, that goes away in a vehicle and an expert crew, right? So
Yeah.
I that's what I hate, is a lot of people that, not, I wouldn't say directly defend Gaijin, but a lot of people that I think are just being kind of disingenuous almost. They don't have like an empathy. Like I'm saying, from someone who's played War Thunder since before it was called War Thunder with Birds of Prey and Birds of Steel, and I've seen how they've developed the game over the year. I would say within the last 3.5 years, the game has taken a significant turn for most people. And I say this is pretty consistent in my message as well. There is no excuse that a game like this, with 4 times the amount of vehicles it had just a few years ago, it's got like quadruple the player base, just exponentially more players, should have a grind experience that is on average worse than it ever was before. And again, that ranges from the early noobs all the way up to veteran players. Like, it is just, as a matter of fucking fact, worse off than it was a few years ago. And it was like the moment Gaijin opened themselves up to the console market, they opened themselves up to a whole bunch of can of worms. And I think that was maybe around the time when they really started, in their words, in Kirill's words, supposedly, if it really is Kirill, correcting the grind, or whatever the hell they said, correcting the earnings and the progression. Like, you know what correcting the progression is double speak for? Fucking over the players. It's like, it's I can see right through the bullshit, and I said it in my final message video. Like, you don't need to play the game as long as I have to see through their bullshit. It's just common sense.
Oh yeah.
You
No,
know?
I agree. You know, actually, I've been playing. I forget if it was, because I remember I had it, you know, probably in like 2010 or whatever. It wasn't. It must have been Birds of Prey when you know, I had it. I didn't really. It was having problems playing on my computer, but I did have that game, so you know, I'm kind of with you. And I've been kind of familiar with their products for a very long time, and I started playing War Thunder in July of 2012, I think. And it's just, for me personally, I mean, I used to have just an average like bank of around 10 million SL. You know, then I'd kind of go and purchase something and whatever. This was like a year or two ago, but especially over the last, I'll just say 2 years. I mean, you have to have a premium vehicle and a premium account. And, you know, I'm not the best player in the world. However, you know, I'm by no means a slouch.
Yeah.
And I know how to play X and Y vehicle. I know how to, you know, do this, that, and the other thing. And even if you're in the top 40%, right? Like, you're, I guess, what would that be? The 60th percentile, 70th percentile, let's say. and you're that, pretty damn good, but not necessarily the best, it's like you should expect to be able to make a good amount of SL from a match, but you can't. Even with premium time and premium vehicles, and I think that the base, right, should be if you have like a 1-to-1 KD, no premium time, you're not in a premium vehicle, you should more or less kind of even out, right? Like you shouldn't really gain too much when it comes to a match. Shouldn't really lose too much. It depends on what you did in the match, of course.
But that's got to be on like a match by match basis, obviously.
Exactly, because I mean, like there are some things that are just there's a lot to go with it. It's not just that simple. But as like a general rule of thumb, but at this point, and I remember Oddboss, it might have been him, or there were numerous posts on Reddit about it. I only started watching the War Thunder Reddit somewhat in like the last few months, but somebody had posted that they had something like 9 kills, maybe 10 kills in ground RP with the 2S38 and maybe the terms, and they had something like 80 or 90 RP, or 80 or 90,000 RP, and like 9,800. No, was it? I forget, but like they ended up with not making all too much SL. Like it was only like 50 to 100,000 SL or something, but like they had a hell of a match, at that BR. And that's before repairs, that's before ammo replacement and everything else. So it's just and especially when it comes to and I really like that message, the final message video that you had. Didn't you also raise a point with Naval, was it? And you'd said something like it was a kind of like a failure.
Yeah, so some people in my video, I try to respond to every comment that was about it. They seem to misunderstand what I was talking. I didn't say Naval is like shit, like it's not fun or something like that. That is not at all what I was saying. What I was saying was from a monetary standpoint, or like an investment standpoint. Because I had heard this metric somewhere a long time ago, that for every naval vehicle that Gaijin produces capital ship-wise, like, so let's say for every USS Wyoming, Arizona, Scharnhorst, whatever, that Gaijin produces, the development time and cost in resources, I'll just say resources as a general term, the resources that it costs them to make one capital ship is equivalent of Gaijin making 4 vehicles, that whether it's aircraft or tanks, like kind of a mix of the two, not just whatever. And they don't net that back as much or as quickly, whatever, as they do ground vehicles. So Gaijin, let's say for example, the UNS Helena, I would say the USS Helena is probably one of the or the Moffat are like one of the most purchased premiums in the game. Now a lot of people do play Naval. Naval does have a lot of players. A lot of them are bots, which at some extent that Gaijin, they have an issue with, but that's a whole other tangent. But Gaijin has to make back the net loss. They're at a net loss basically every time they make a massive capital ship. Maybe not a destroyer. It's maybe a little bit easier to develop. But for like something like Helena, they're at a massive net loss by just making that vehicle. And that vehicle itself as a premium has to make up the sales that it, as a premium it'll make, because of the development costs. Now, that's not even talking about a tech tree capital ship. Now, what do we know about specifically high tier, with like the F-16 or maybe even with the Scharnhorst and Naval or like the T-80 BVM? How does Gaijin make their money on an in-tree vehicle? Well, the grind is so fucking ridiculous, specifically for Naval especially, that most people are going to acquire in the earliest time that vehicle's in the game by buying Golden Eagles equivalent to, let's say, a premium price, to GE that vehicle and then its modifications and then some if they don't have enough GE for the mods, right? Mm-hmm. So the net loss that they're making with Naval is why I said in that video that Naval was a massive fucking mistake. because it costs them so many resources, and that's what Naval is. It is a mistake in terms of investment. I didn't say like it was a mistake, like it should never be in game at all in the future at all, whatever. I'm just saying that as it stood when Gaijin introduced Naval, for a while, if you remember, when we had the PT boats, like I pre-ordered the Russian PT boat. We didn't see those premiums for like, I think it was 2 years. We didn't even get to play like a proper normal naval state that wasn't like a random test for like a year and a half, 2 years. Timbers will know. He'll probably correct me in chat. Right? And then when people wanted capital ships, Gaijin was like, well, these take a lot of time to develop, and you know, it might not be balanced because that's not. They literally told the player base like, look, this might not be fun, and people were like, no, we want them, and well, Gaijin went okay, and now because it costs them so much to develop just a single naval vehicle, and naval, I guess you could just say in general, they're now basically finding new ways to over monetize the game. Whether it's through actual monetization of like a premium or whatever the price that they set something at, or they do changes in game, like they change the economy to frustrate and then incentivize people to spend money that way. And that's why I said Naval was a mistake. As an investment, it was a mistake, and it's not the player's fault. I mean, maybe it is a little bit because people did want surface ships, but I'm saying it from just a basic consumer standpoint, it's not the player's fault that a business fucked that, you know, it's not the consumer's fault that the producer fucked up an investment. And that was what I was saying about Naval.
Yeah. So. No, I totally agree. I mean, like they have to, I mean, based on what you were saying, and I totally see it. Like if anybody and anyone who's listening to this right now, whether it's live or, you know, I guess not live, you know, I challenge you, not that it's a challenge, to look at the, like, any old capital ship in War Thunder, whether it's, like you said, the Scharnhorst, the Wyoming, whatever. And, I mean, just go into the X-ray mode, or just zoom into it, and, like, the amount of detail on that thing is insane compared to, like, what, the VK3002M or whatever it is. It's just insane amounts of detail. And, I mean, you can, like, I've run polls before where it's like 2% of the player base plays Naval, and it's just, like, yeah, I get it. A lot of people, I do agree, like, a lot of people, like, the Helena, the Moffat, like, it's just insane amounts of people buying those. But I think a lot of it also has to do with bots. But regardless of why, I mean, huge amounts of people are buying them. And I do see, actually, quite a few people, whenever I play Naval, playing Naval. So, you know, I mean, it's not like it's not there, but like you said, I mean, in terms of investment, like, I totally agree. You know, it's just, like, you know, I don't know if you've ever played it, but years ago, I used to play World of Warships a decent amount, not a ton.
Yeah, I played World of Warships a shit ton until very recently, where their monetization got pretty bad.
Oh, yeah. You know, but World of Warships, to me at least, you know, was really fun. You know, I liked it, and like it was not like World of Tanks where you could, like, for me, World of Tanks, you know, the various iterations, World of Warplanes or whatever it was, those were, to me, just not great, because even though I played a lot of World of Tanks, like before I played War Thunder, you know, a lot of the thing with those is like, yeah, they were very arcadey. It was kind of like in your face, but like with World of Warships, not so much. And now you have War Thunder rather, Naval, where it's just like, it's fun, but it's not like, for me at least, not World of Warships fun.
Yeah.
You know, are they ever going to get to that point? Like, I'm not going to play World of Warships because I have no interest in doing it, because I mean, it's, you know, I play War Thunder, you know, and it would be kind of a time sink for me. Like, I mean, I get my views and subscribers from War Thunder and all that. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just kind of a little bit all over the place here, but
well, every time with me with World of Warships, I would play it and then I'd be like, "Fuck, I gotta make a War Thunder video," so I'd stop playing it. But I was on a pretty big World of Warships binge for a while.
Yeah. No, it of all the World of games, that's, in my opinion, the best. And I think Gaijin would go a long way towards looking at that and saying to themselves, like, what have they done right? You know, and they don't have to go crazy arcadey in order to succeed.
Yeah.
But there's a lot to do with it. I mean, it's faster paced than War Thunder,
Yeah.
by a long shot, by a tremendous amount. I mean, one other thing too that that I noticed. I don't know if you've played it at all, but the War Thunder Mobile. Have you played that?
No, I haven't. I don't think I'll ever
Jeez.
touch that with a 10-foot pole. I saw some of the examples. The KV220 is like $120 or something.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah, it's insane, and like you can actually just kind of again I more or less subsidize a lot of my own video game stuff. Like I subsidize my videos with the money I make from my videos. So for example, like all that I just use my YouTube money just to like kind of experiment with it, and I didn't really spend much. But I think I purchased the USS Arizona, which by the way is a premium vehicle, the Arizona, and I purchased that, and it was like $20. Now, ships aren't so bad, but when you get to tanks, which Gaijin probably knows, more people are going to want to play tanks
On
and soon to
mobile,
be
yeah.
airplanes. What was that?
Especially on mobile, too. It's probably the easiest of them all.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And so when I did that, like, I was just looking around, and, like, once you get up to the higher echelon, like the higher level vehicles for tanks, they force you to purchase a full squad of tanks. So like the way that they do it, and obviously like War Thunder in the desktop is, you have a 4 different crew slots or 5, however many crew slots you have, and you assign one tank or whatever vehicle you want to that crew slot. In War Thunder Mobile, what they do is you have a squadron, like you purchase the squadron of vehicles. So you purchase the lineup. And so you have to purchase an entire lineup
on the mobile.
On the mobile, yep. You have to. That's why it's so expensive, because you're not just getting the KV220, you're getting 3 other vehicles with it. And so and while some people might say, "Oh, well, you're getting a deal," that's how they justify making you pay.
Yeah.
Over about $100.
The mental gymnastics of extracting money from you.
Exactly, and I can bet you that so many people have done it. And at first, I kind of thought to myself, "Oh, well, you know what? Like this is a little bit extreme, but whatever." But when you really start to think about it and combine it with what's been happening in War Thunder over the last few years, this is a new platform for them. This is something that, like, War Thunder from the start. Like, I remember back in the day when, did they have like 5 times RP for individual nations for your first match, or 2 times, whatever it was.
I think it was 5 times on the weekends or something like that.
Exactly, and you could get GE wagers when you logged in, and you got all these things that they would kind of give you. It wasn't so common necessarily, but again, you would have your daily matches where you'd get your RP, whatever, and a lot of that's been kind of taken away over time. Oh, well, we've replaced it with this, we've done that. And I remember actually years ago, there was also a time where, like now, for example, if I were to put two 10% RP boosters on, one will be 10%, one will be 6%. They did it a few years ago, and there was massive backlash about it, where instead of the second one being like 6%, it went down to like 2%. And so, like, they made it where stacking your boosters went from being a bad idea to totally stupid.
Yeah.
And so it's just they backtracked on it because it was a bit extreme. But people also forget that they were going to try to get people to have, I think it was, like, what was it? Reusable, or not reusable, but like things like fire extinguishers or whatever the case may be. Like,
that was one of the main... Yeah, that was one of the main things they tried selling us with on the marketplace, was they thought it would be a way for us to be able to, like, trade, buy, and sell our fucking consumables. Like, that's 10 times worse than gold ammo and gold consumables and WoT and World of Warships ever was. Like, that is ridiculous. That is pay to play. That was like one of the original pay to play almost kind of mechanics that they were trying to push into the game.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, though. Like, War Thunder was, it came about in a time, thankfully it came around 10 plus years ago, where, as bad as it is, they've been eroding things rather than just kind of wiping the slate clean from the beginning and saying, well, you know what? You're just not going to have this, or like with War Thunder Mobile, better said, they kind of have made that game into the monetization that I believe that they want for War Thunder proper. Like War Thunder Mobile, in my opinion, for the most part, is probably what they wish that they could make War Thunder, like the desktop version, to be.
Yeah.
Because War Thunder Mobile has consumables. Actually, there was one thing that really ticked me off about War Thunder Mobile. So, not just one thing, but one of the things. So when I was playing tanks, you could respawn in a vehicle. So, like, let's say if your entire squadron of tanks was gone, and you had a backup. Basically, or not basically, this is how it was when I last played it about a month ago. You had to use your backup in order to get back into your vehicle. And bear in mind, backups cost money. And so you had to use that backup in order to get into a vehicle and get back into the match. Or if you didn't want to use that backup, you would, and you wanted to leave the match because you just don't want to use the backup and that's it for you, they would count that match as a loss, which would then mean that you lose your winning multiplier and all of that. Even if your team wins, it doesn't count as a win for you because you left early even though you had a backup. And so
that is so confusing.
Yeah. So, like, again, I'm going to try to simplify it. So, like, you have 4 vehicles and they're all dead, right?
Yeah.
But one of the vehicles has a backup. If you say, I don't want to use this backup, I'm leaving the match, you're getting a loss. It doesn't matter if your team wins in the end, you get a loss.
That's almost like when War Thunder proper punishes you with a crew lock for not respawning in a backup of like an AA or something.
Exactly. It's ridiculous. Yeah, and I genuinely think that War Thunder proper, like desktop, that they want that. Like, not maybe not to that extent, but that's what they wish that they could have for the game. Because it's like, the way that they are is that if they want to monetize, like, if it wasn't already, like, in, kind of in stone right now, I'm sure that they would go that way. I've got no doubt about it. But thankfully the player base gets a little bit upset when when stupid things happen, but not all the time, and it's as I've said before, it's you give them an inch and they take a mile. Even if it's not instant, they will take a mile, and that's what we've been seeing, I think, a lot. And War Thunder Mobile is just kind of almost proof of that in like an alternate world. Like, that's War Thunder if it was like Bizarro War Thunder, but that's really what I think that they want for the game. Ultimately.
Yeah. Sorry, I had to mute my mic for a second because the air raid siren goes off in the background. It's the fire station.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, I realized, I was like, oh shit, that's probably picking up. It's fucking annoying. Anyways, yeah, no, I see what you're saying though. Like if Gaijin were to push like the actual game into that would be really disgusting. But isn't the mobile made by like a Turkish company or something? Because they had the like the original. I remember seeing the original trailer was in Turkish, so I assumed it wasn't Gaijin themselves developing it.
I think that may be right, but it still has all the same like GE, all that. So I think like
there's still the publisher to it.
Exactly. So when it comes to like a lot of the monetization and all that, I would imagine that they, and that I'm not 100% sure now that you say that, but I would imagine that they have complete control over it. But of course, I'm not just gonna go on a thing and say, oh no, that's how it is. But I guess what's the word? Like, take it with a grain of salt, I guess, what I just said, because I cannot confirm it. And I never want to mislead anyone if I can help it. But, of course, I would imagine that they have control over it. But, again, I can't confirm that, at least as of right now. I'm sure that
it's the same thing with Enlisted. It's Infantry War Thunder, no matter way you slice it, but Gaijin technically isn't developing it. It's Darkflow or whatever, which I've heard rumors that they're just like almost like a shell company of War Thunder anyways.
Really?
That's just a rumor I heard. I don't know if there's any evidence of that, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like that's just the thing with War Thunder, like I said earlier, is that I just don't see an excuse or a reason to monetize the game, or to just, I would just say, just as an overall, like a overarching just generalization, to just develop the game in this direction when they, like I said, they have exponentially more players and content than ever. When you have a lot of, you know, veteran or return players that do have top tier, and maybe some of them have I mean, people like Napalm Rat, he owns, like, I'm pretty sure at this point, like 99.9% of the vehicles he gave. There might be one he just hasn't researched that just got added or something, right?
Yeah.
But like, that is such a tiny minority. Most people still, like, even with me, like, I've played the game forever, I still have most of the Israeli tree to grind, China, like a half of France, you know what I mean? Like, that's, I don't see a reason, especially with so many more people here, that there's a reason for them to just be that toxic, I guess you could say, with how they're developing the game. And just one thing, kind of just a random thought that really bothered me about that post that Kirill supposedly, they claimed that was Kirill's words, was, I don't understand. How could the War Thunder player base, in any way, shape, or form, whether you're for the boycott or the WTPU or against it, how could you look, just with some bare bones common sense, at the fact that they were nonchalantly threatening shutting down the game because people were disproving their shitty practices, and still support Gaijin and defend them in any way or give them a benefit of the doubt? That is insane to me, because that, either that was an empty threat or they were being fucking serious. You know, either way, it's like, you're either going to call Gaijin's bluff and make them look like idiots, or they're actually going to go through with it. That was one of the things I said in my final message video too, was like, if I want an answer from Kirill or Anton themselves, if you genuinely are not making enough money to get this game by, and you're just going to nonchalantly threaten shutting the game down like a fucking prick, then come out and just say, look, like, we don't make enough to cover the game's expenses, and maybe I'll understand. But like, in a way I said with Naval, like, I'm sorry, your poor business investments aren't my responsibility to fork over fucking money for you anymore to support that game. And that's what I think has happened. I think it's been a snowball effect. Like, people have always said for years, stop developing and adding more content. Like, you got to fix mechanics, you got to refine certain economy things, and look at balancing of the matchmaker and BRs, and that never really happened. They just kept going and going and going and going and going and going. And a lot of the people, and I think the media attention that the game got over this too, with the economy change, was people were focusing on just the economy change. Like, that's why I say, when people say, oh, it's just a bunch of people with skill issues bitching, it's like, you don't understand. Like, and this is what I kind of got me the epiphany, and why I kind of supported the WTPU and to make some sort of productive proposal, was, if you zoom out and you look at everything from someone who's played for as long as I have, you will notice that it has been minor things over and over and over again. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That have built up, and that was just the tipping point. And people focusing on that tipping point is a big issue, because I just don't think a lot of people see the bigger picture. And I think because people don't see the bigger picture, they don't see things like that nonchalant threat that Kirill supposedly, allegedly said. That's something that really truly bothered me. Yeah, I don't think it was like, that's just, I don't know. Like, it's so shocking to me that they would have the balls to say that and treat us like we're stupid. And a good parallel, I guess, would be for World of Warships. I watched a lot of Flamu's content, and a little bit of other people's content. They went through something similar, where Wargaming essentially shit on the players and called them stupid for whatever reason it was back then, because their issues are a little different. I wouldn't say it's maybe the economy, but it's like the premiums they add and all the broken power creep shit, whatever. But they basically did the same thing Gaijin did. They literally they made a change or they did something. A lot of the players hated it. They made a post about it, basically claiming that people were stupid. They doubled down and gaslit the players, and then they got shit on. And of course, they didn't have maybe a Steam review bombing, because maybe it's a little bit more fragmented in World of Warships. But like Gaijin just did exactly that, and I'm like, how stupid could you be? How stupid could you be to do that? It is almost a one-for-one parallel with what Wargaming did. And there's even more. There's more examples, like with DICE and EA. With Battlefield 5, it was literally don't like it, don't play it. And then 2042 was something similar. And guess what? People didn't fucking play it. 2042, especially the Steam review bombing too. Like that's a good parallel. You know, it's just like, how could you do that? And that really bothers me as someone who's been in the game for so long.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's like, it gets to the point of arrogance for these guys, where I think it's like they think that, they can just, that they're just talking to, 5 or 10 people or whatever, but it's not just that. I mean, like, we live in a world where everybody hears that, where everybody sees that, and whether it's a steep decline or a decline that takes months or years, it happens, and time will tell what happens with the boycott, what happens with the economy changes that they're saying are going to happen. Again, I'm kind of like you. I'm very cautious with that because I know their history. You and I, like, we've been playing Gaijin games, War Thunder, and other games like that for a long time. And so I'm very cautious about it, and it's ridiculous that they would go out and, like you said, whether Kirill said that or not, or whether it was some AI thing, or whatever the case may be, because it's that bizarre, and I think it's still on their website.
They never removed it. They never retracted that statement.
Because I think it's because they genuinely believe it, and the
arrogance, the fucking hubris.
Yeah, and it's just, the thing is, it's just, they're going to get to a point where it's like, right now, we are in a golden age for War Thunder, more or less. Maybe we're at the end of the golden age. Maybe we've surpassed it. But we're around the time where War Thunder had not only the most players, but the most vehicles, most gameplay options, whatever. Of course, other things in the background have been boiling over, like the economy, bugs, matchmaking issues, things of that nature. But one could argue that we are, give or take, maybe even a silver age, right? But everything comes to an end. And that's, whether it's a band, like Led Zeppelin, they were making great music, in my opinion, until the end. Whether it's the Beatles, whether it's Gaijin with War Thunder, it's going to happen. And they can do things to delay that. They can do things to make it, last longer. But hell, I mean, a few years ago, like 10 years ago, World of Warships, but World of Warcraft was like, what, 10 plus million subscribers? Now it's probably like 1.
Yeah.
It's just going to happen. People lose interest over time. And I hate to say it, but maybe War Thunder's the exception. Who knows? But to spit in the face of the players in that regard,
that feeds you, don't bite the hand that feeds you, kind of thing.
Oh yeah, well yeah. I mean, it's the same thing. It's like, when I like a lot of music, like rock music and whatnot. Like, when it comes down to it, like Axl Rose from Guns N' Roses, he'd show up to concerts like an hour or two late sometimes, and it's just like, dude, like, what are you doing? Yeah, sure, the individual customer, the individual fan, they might not make too much of a difference in your bottom line, but, like, people see it, and it's like, for me personally, like, I actually had a notable or a sharp decline in my interest in playing War Thunder over the boycott, not because I was necessarily supporting it or not, but because of everything that they had done, and it just kind of finally came to a head where I was like,
the gaslighting article legitimately sealed my disinterest in the game almost, where it was like, if you're like, look, there's been ups and downs with the game. Like, the free parts and FB thing was kind of funny. It was insulting, but it was kind of funny. But like I said, just the veiled threats and the double speak, like I said, with the correcting, that was the two things that stood out to me: the veiled threat, nonchalant threat of shutting down the game, and the correcting the economy were two indications that they think that like they know what's best for the game and they don't give a fuck. And it's like, okay, well, if you don't give a fuck, then why should the people playing the game and buying shit should give a shit?
Yeah.
But it's like it goes both ways, jerk off. Like, you know what I mean? It's like you can't play that game with people. That's just to me, that's what bothers, and that's something that almost breaks my heart. And like I got kind of emotional the one day because it really like pissed me off. It's like, how did it get to this point? Like, how did such a passion project get to the point where they're treating the community like that, or they think that way, they act that way?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that really bothered me. I was like, what? Maybe, you know, like I said in my video too, like it's not, or I think maybe it was in my stream, I said it's not like BVVD's fault, right? It's not his fault. It's not Mike Goes Boom's fault, you know, because Mike said he works for the company now. It's like, it's not their fault. It's the pieces of shit at the top that are either don't give a shit, or they're just truly mismanaging a company and they're too stubborn to change. And I've heard rumors of just the poor communication in that company, and it's not like that's out of the gaming industry. Like, that's never happened before, where developers or game companies, they go down the shitter, they have big ups and downs because of poor management. But it's just like, how did we get to this point where you're just starting to develop that? And that's what I think. I think it was a snowball effect, and they got too investor, or what's the word I'm thinking of, like just too big too quickly, and now like you said, like all things come to an end. You know, like it's possible, and I've always kind of had this in the back of my head ever since like maybe the F100 got added, that eventually the game's going to run out of a lot of major content, and they will. The money will naturally start to dry up, and that's always going to be a thing with this game, especially because there's only so much military history you can add, right? And I always had that in the back of my mind, but I don't think it was necessary for Gaijin almost to like accelerate that.
Oh yeah, that, I mean, like every patch, every update, it's like you're adding another 2 to 5 years of advanced aircraft at this point, and we've already reached pretty much modernity when it comes to tanks. You know, so I agree.
The one thing, like content wise, like it is what it is, but the lack of risk. I kind of wanted to maybe touch this earlier when I was talking about naval, but the lack of risk Gaijin takes with game modes. Like, of course, there's people that are always going to dislike game modes. Like, a lot of people didn't like Break, but let's be honest. Break at the time was added when the maps weren't designed for it at all. Like, it was just, oh, here's a game mode, and then people were getting killed at spawn to spawn, and like the game mode on paper was good, but there was a very few maps in the game that could support something with that style. But ever since Break and even like EC, Gaijin has taken no risk with game modes. Like now they finally, with Naval, they added a couple of AI fortress guns into Naval. Ooh, wow. So brave. You know what I mean? And you probably know this when you looked in the CC Discord. So for anyone that doesn't know, it's kind of public, but because they made the article on it, they asked all the content creators what were some like quick fixes, I guess you could say, that they could implement into the game, and specifically not economy. Like, oh wow, they totally weren't dodging it there, which is why I hate when people give them the benefit of the doubt, because again, I think I kind of see right through their bullshit. But
yeah.
So they asked a bunch of questions. One of the most upvoted posts was, I kind of rephrased it, I think probably better than Smeagol did, but it was basically bring back ARBC, like permanently in the event tab. The same rules as Sim, except it's just obviously it's RB game rules instead of Sim, and you adjust the rewards accordingly, right? No one really hated during Confrontation. What they hated was Gaijin made it a bi-weekly, I think it was, or like every weekend. It was a specific historical belligerents, as they called it, lineup of vehicles, like a sim tank match. And people
Mm-hmm.
didn't like that. They wanted to play EC in their aisle 2, while the current EC style is Berlin, Battle of Berlin, with like high end Russian, like late war Russian and German vehicles, right, or something like that. Like, that was maybe why people didn't like it. Gaijin just was like, oh no one likes EC, and I think even at one point they did give us an answer in private. It was Smin had said something, but obviously it wasn't Smin saying it. It was the developer saying it. Don't shoot the messenger, of course, but. Like, they just haven't taken risks. Like, literally, bringing back ARB-EC would solve, like, most issues for people in ARB. Because the people who want to ground pound and want to, and the people who want to have a more dynamic battle will go play EC, while the people that just want the fast-paced air battles will go back to air. They'll go to air, the standard ARB battles, right? Because EC allows multiple respawns. It gives you more room to maneuver. Things happen dynamically. You can take an attacker away from like a big furball of fighters. It would eventually balance itself out. And there's more players than ever. The queue time excuse, notice how that died away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that with EC, there's no excuse now with the amount of players in the game. So Gaijin just doesn't take risks anymore. And simple requests, like now magically Gaijin, because their money was at threat, is going to get off their ass and suddenly wake up and be like, oh, people want ARB-EC, okay, we'll think about it. Like, that's bullshit to me. They were either seriously ignoring it, or like I said, it wasn't a priority. But it's the potential of the game is being wasted because they don't take risks. And I think everybody could agree that it's the game in not just the economy. It's just the game in itself. The gameplay is getting stale for a lot of long-time players, and they may make up the majority of the player base still. I don't know. It's a long tangent, but that's kind of what I'm getting at there. Is they don't take risks with shit, and that really needs to change. And maybe we'll see that with the roadmap. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just seeing Gaijin's history of everything.
I mean, that's speaking of the roadmap, it's just like, I mean, being that it's coming out, it's supposed to be coming out in what, 2 days, up to 2 days. I mean, that's one thing I remember. Like they said specifically that it's by the 14th. So I was holding out hope. I'm like, oh well, you know what? It might be before the 14th. That'd be really cool. Nope, it's not. Unless it comes out. What?
Another thing too is Gaijin has always said they don't do roadmaps, and all of a sudden they say they're going to do a roadmap. That is either a red flag or a green flag. So. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, no, exactly. I mean, like, it's just the cynic in me wants to say that this is just like more of Gaijin, and that they put it out a convenient length of time. Like what, at that point it was 2 or 3 weeks, I think, probably 3 weeks actually, from when they initially released a statement to when the roadmap would be out. What really would have made it seem serious to me would be if they had actually just went and said, okay, well, we'll release a roadmap in, by the 14th. However, we have these fixes, these quick changes already prepared, and we're going to see how they work. Like immediate boost to RP, or SL rather. RP would be cool too, but more SL. Because I feel like people, like, of course they're not getting enough RP, but they're really not getting enough SL. For the cost, and just some real basic changes in that regard would be nice. But of course, that's too quick for Gaijin. I mean, like, the thing is, it's like, I don't think that Gaijin is like, they must be like an autocracy, right? Like, they have, like, whoever at the top, Anton, if he says one thing, I mean, it's going to happen. I can't. Is that how it is? Is that how their structure works? Maybe I'm completely incorrect with this, but I mean, like, do they? I mean, of course they would have investors, but when it comes to like the overall game itself, like the direction of the game. Would that be correct? Like that, whatever Anton says, or
From what
yeah,
I've
Anton
heard with the
says,
rumors, like I not maybe specifically that, but between departments, there's not that much communication. I did hear one thing though. I don't know if this is provable, or how like credible it is, but it was from somebody that at least knows some Gaijin. I forget who exactly told me, but something about that, like the one studio in particular, they actually have two different what do you call them? Just groups, let's say two different aspects of the game development in the same room, divided, and they're not allowed to speak to each other.
wow.
Supposedly, I don't know how true that is. I just know from what I've been told, there's some like serious like communication issues there. But that could be true. I don't know.
Yeah.
There was a company, Eugen, that makes the wargaming RTS games.
Mhm.
There was a point when they were developing, I think, Steel Division. It was between Red Dragon and Steel Division, where they legitimately didn't pay their employees until they got a specific point of the game done.
Wow.
And it was like, I remember it kind of was a big thing in the wargaming community. I'm surprised it didn't get like decent media attention for the time. They legitimately withheld the paychecks of their employees because they didn't want to pay them, or they couldn't afford it or something, because they were spending so much developing the new game. Yeah, that was a thing.
Wow. Not surprised.
Yeah, that was a bad thing, but I other than some of the rumors I've heard, I don't know. I would assume it's kind of an anything goes thing.
Yeah.
But
Well, when you say that, like what Anton says goes, is that like what you mean?
yeah, like I'm not sure how true that is. I would assume it's probably pretty substantial.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
I
Kirill is
would've-
technically the director of whatever his title was in that post. He probably has more of a do what I say thing than his brother, because I think his brother probably handles the more business side of it.
Oh yeah,
Really
yeah,
sure.
that's true. Yeah, I mean, regardless, I'm sure that there's very few people, actually making the decisions. At least when it comes to the economy, I'm pretty certain about. I would feel comfortable in saying that. But when it comes to, that sort of aspect of it, right? Like very few people actually saying kind of what happens. It's just you have to like. Well, where was I going with this? I think I've gotten off course here a little bit. My apologies.
No,
But
it's okay.
but basically, I'll try to salvage what I was going to say. When it comes down to the the overall economy, like one of the problems that I think Gaijin will have, and this is kind of the problem with a lot of people that have like a figurehead, or not a figurehead, but rather like a main person kind of calling the shots, is like lead singer syndrome, where it's like the lead singer in a group gets to a point where it's like, oh, well, I'm the show. Everyone cares about me. And it's kind of like the same thing, I would imagine. Like, you have the Todd Howards of the world. You have possibly the Anton Yudentsevs, where it's just like, well, I've made this game to where it is, I can't go wrong. And so, like, they get to this point where they think that they are all that in a bag of chips.
Yeah.
And I think, like, that
Especially
might be
a monopoly of this specific like niche game genre, whatever you want to call it. Like the fact that they do have that as monopoly, it's almost gone to their head.
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, like, there's no competition, and it's like they hit the fact is they hit the market at the perfect time, right? Like, where free to play games were becoming huge at that time, and they had kind of a semi-competitor with World of Tanks, and well, I guess at that point it was just World of Tanks, and that was it. And for me, it's just like World of Tanks is what got me. Like, I've always been big into like military vehicles, but if I wasn't actively looking up stuff for World of Tanks and whatnot, I would have had no idea about War Thunder. And thus, it's like, they kind of had a very easy pathway by taking people from World of Tanks because they had a far superior, in my opinion, a far superior game. And now they're at the point where it's like, can anyone actually challenge them? I don't know. Will anyone challenge them at least? It's really difficult to say, in my opinion. But they've really, for certain, they have benefited from having little competition. And it gets to that point where it's like, because of forces well outside of their control, they might think that they have been in control this whole time, when really it's just kind of the universe kind of smiling upon them, so to speak.
I actually think that's like an interesting point. I actually think that the problem with people always saying, well, there's no alternative. Like, I mean, just because you don't like an orange, you might not like the orange, the fruit, doesn't mean that you can't go eat an apple.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I had a better analogy the other day. It's similar to that, but I think people are looking for a replacement in War Thunder that is War Thunder, and not like you're not. I don't think you're gonna get War Thunder ever again. And I understand there is the appeal. Like with me, still, it is kind of the appeal. The potential is the appeal for me. Like, I would rather play EC in air battles more than I would standard air battles nowadays, and I would rather play tanks with a more map oriented for the like modern tanks be on bigger maps, whatever thing, but to each their own. But I think that, like, if people really want a tank experience and not be War Thunder, their best bet is literally Gunner Heat PC. Unfortunately, like, you're not going to get another War Thunder ground forces. And like, even when I play alternate games, it's like, man, I really wish I was playing War Thunder ground RB right now. But at the same time, then you think, well, in Gunner Heat PC, I'm not getting droned.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Or, and then obviously the easiest comparison for air is DCS. And I know a lot of people, they think of DCS with the simulator aspect and the time invested, and I understand, but this is my counter argument to DCS. The money that the average player that is going to spend money will spend equals a flight stick, a throttle, possibly rudder pedals, and a couple of modules. Like, think about it this way. When Gaijin released, what was it, Sky Guardians, where we had the Mirage Premium, the the F4S or whatever, the A6, whatever, all the premiums in that first patch, the rank 7 ones. The amount of money that people spent to buy every single one of those premiums, or maybe half of those, equals a decent mid-end joystick and throttle and a module for DCS.
Yeah.
Right? And DCS is a little bit more like, you got to learn the vehicle system, sure. But there's DCS lobbies that are just as goofy as War Thunder Sim. Like, War Thunder Sim isn't that much different from like a 4YA DCS server. Right? Like, it's not that different. And that's the problem, is I think people are looking for a War Thunder solution that's War Thunder. It's in terms of gameplay. And you're just not going to get that. You're going to have to settle for something different. And I think supporting developers like the ones making Gunner Heat PC is more worth your time and money in a large scale, collective group of people, than supporting Gaijin constantly fucking you over again, right? And I think maybe the same thing for DCS. And DCS, sure, it has its problems too. But I'm just saying those are the two main ones I can think of off the top of my head. But I think that's the problem is like I said with the analogy, but just because you don't like an orange doesn't mean you can't go eat another fruit, kind of thing. So
yeah, exactly. I mean, there's not going to be another like 1-to-1 game. Like, you're not going to get War Thunder minus the bad economy, outside of, unless Gaijin has an epiphany, and I don't think that's going to happen. But there are other games where it's like, oh, well, this has the tank aspect of it, like Gunner Heat PC. But I mean, like, a really interesting tank aspect of it. I played it, and at least the demo, and I really enjoyed it. I think, what was it, like this time last year, maybe? And I don't know, it's just like, you might not get the full War Thunder experience from any other game. You might get an aspect of it here and there. You might get something better. You know, you might get a better plane game. Like, you might end up liking DCS more. DCS, you know, there's tons that you can do in it. Whereas War Thunder, I mean, yeah, it's kind of like, I think, in my opinion, one of the draws to it is it's got tanks, planes, and ships. And in many ways, you can kind of battle with ships and planes, and tanks and planes, and tanks and drones, and I don't want to go down that path. But you know, you can kind of do all these things, but you know, and it will probably never, at least no time soon, see something comparable to it. But there are bits and pieces, you know, like you said, it doesn't have to be, you know, if you can get an apple, you know, if even if you like oranges, apples are good too. You know, and that's actually a really good analogy.
Yeah.
So it's just there's tons out there, and people just forget about that. I mean, and it's not even just like this monolith, right? Like War Thunder isn't this thing where it's like War Thunder or nothing. Like up until about the past, I don't know, 3-4 weeks, I've been pretty much playing War Thunder, but you know, I'm a huge fan of the Diablo franchise. I played Diablo 4. You know, I've really enjoyed Diablo 4. That's been great, you know?
Yeah.
Or it's like, if you feel like you have to play War Thunder, do something else. Pick up a guitar, you know? It's like, I don't know, go to the gym. Yeah, touch grass, you know? It's like,
that was the entire staple of the boycott with not playing, was literally just go touch grass.
Exactly, you know? I mean, like, there's so much to do. Eat grass if you want, you know? It's just, there's so much out there that
it's
it's
sad
like,
because that, like, I kind of maybe try to bring us back on track here just a little bit, but that's like the addiction, almost, like that just shows the level of addiction and lack of self-control. With the majority of the player base, and it's sad. It's really sad. It's almost morally, in a way, just evil, and that's that's not specific to War Thunder. You know, other games are super addictive too, but it's just, it shows to me that the level of addiction is almost incurable for a lot of people, and it's very sad.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
I developed a lot more self-control on the game. So the main, like I said earlier, the nail in the coffin for me with really not wanting to play the game much anymore, or let's just say the motivation to play. The main nail of the coffin was the gaslighting article. But what really started to hurt my interest was when they added drones. The attack drone is the most toxic, just, I can't even describe it, just toxic play encouraging mechanic or thing that they've added in a while. Because they basically said, oh, well, we want people that have no interest in flying airplanes to get CAS airplanes. We want to give them a free option to get instant 2 kills. Like, it's that easy to spawn in a drone, fire a Hellfire, and kill somebody just because you magically, you were lucky enough to be a noob and go grab a cap and a kill assist.
Yeah.
Like, that was so stupid to me, because, like, they finally changed it now. But the fact that before they released drones, people were saying they should not be in rank 6 because of the battle ratings. You literally can't play, like, the 9-0 to 9-7 area because you don't have the ability, other than to spawn in a expensive airplane, and may not even have the ability to, because you can't go back and rearm with more spawn points and change your loadout. You literally have to forfeit your own aircraft, if it's an attacker especially, without possibly having attack ordnance, to go kill somebody, preventing them to get an easy 2 kills, 1 to 2 kills on your team. Because there's no AA that you can spawn in to be useful to your team on the ground and in the air by shooting down the drones at those battle ratings. Like, the fact that people were just like, common sense, this doesn't make sense, and they went along with it anyways, really, really turned me off.
Yeah, I agree.
Was that toxic play. And that's almost, I guess I'll drive it back to the economy here a little bit. When we were working on the proposal, I had said explicitly that some gameplay changes and economy changes kind of go one and the same, because a lot of people are like, you guys are asking for so much. And well, 90% of the people that saw a document saw the draft with a bunch of shit in it, first of all. But a lot of people don't understand that gameplay and economy changes sometimes coincide. So because the grind is so bad in air, right, to progress up to get a decent cast plane for those battle ratings, Gaijin decided to take, instead of looking at fixing an economy element, they added a gameplay element, which was the attack drones. Whether their excuse for, new players, whatever, I don't care. It's partly bullshit. It's mainly people don't want to grind or spend money that are interested in tanks they're not interested in investing in the air side, whether it be premiums or whatever, or GEing through vehicles. So we're going to give them something in ground RB that tickles their fancy so that they will keep spending money in ground. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of people, they don't see that kind of thing. Those two issues are directly related. The aircraft grind and them adding attack drones are directly, in a way, related.
Yeah, you know. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where I kind of think to a point they also get, I mean, not even to a point, I fully believe that they have, like, the sunk cost fallacy where it's like, it's in the game now, we've spent the money, we've spent the time developing this, we're not getting rid of it. You know, like, they're not going to. And I think it's because of the sunk cost fallacy. But ultimately, it might end up drawing more people away from the game than what they actually make from it, you know, in a way. But, attack drones are, I think, they're almost symptomatic of where Gaijin has gone in the last few years, where it's just, you know, again, a lot of it has to go to, that type of player. You know, a lot of those types of players are the ones who will spend the money on the game. And, I don't know, it's just a little bit unfortunate, might be a good way to put it. At least in my opinion. But that being said, though, I, as much as I hate to say it, I have just been called out. At least where I live, I'm gonna have to step away from the podcast for the night because there are a few things I have to take care of around the house. But if that's okay,
that's fine. Can I just ask you one more question before you head out?
Yeah, for sure.
Do you think Gaijin's they're gonna triple down and maybe walk it back, or do you think that they're gonna give us a roadmap, maybe over time, do add in changes, and maybe they're not as good as people think, or do you think that they'll actually follow through with some decent changes?
I think that they are going to give us a somewhat watered down roadmap with decent-ish changes. You know, I mean, I think it's going to be in large part positive, at least the roadmap. Whether or not they actually institute these things, that's another thing. You know, I mean, this roadmap, for all we know, could be like, oh, well, you know, over the next 6 months, we're going to do this. Or it could be like, over the next 3 years, where it's like, after the first year, people are going to forget about it. You know, so it's tough to say, but I think that they are, at least to a point, going to give us some positive changes, but I don't think it's going to be incredible. It's going to be enough where people are going to say, oh, well, okay, you know, it's good. But I don't think anyone's going to be enamored with it, unfortunately. But we'll have to wait and see. You know, I mean, whether it comes out tomorrow, but more likely Wednesday, we'll have to wait and see. And I just don't think that they're going to make any major changes immediately, unfortunately. Maybe some small ones, but nothing major.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for stopping by, buddy. I'm sorry you had to go kind of unexpectedly.
Oh, yeah, no problem. You know, I wish I could stay, but, you know, I currently, like I said, I'm looking for a new place, and there's kind of a few things going on here. So at any one time, I've been kind of pulled from here, there, and everywhere. So, you know, I do appreciate the flexibility, But again, thank you so much for having me on tonight. I appreciate it, and I know everyone who's listening is probably subscribed to you, but if you are not, subscribe definitely to Steel Wolf. He's the man.
Well, thank you so much, Tankenstein. Thanks for hanging out with me for a bit, but don't
Oh, yeah.
miss out on an opportunity to get yourself a good house because of War Thunder.
Oh, no, I'm certainly not. War Thunder is actually one of the reasons why I might actually have that opportunity in the first place because of my YouTube. But regardless, I do appreciate the kind words. So I will see you on the other side.
Well, congratulations and see you later.
Awesome, man. Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Yep.
All right, well, that's sad that he had to go, but that's okay. Yeah, sorry, we got a little off track there. It was kind of like last minute. I was probably more prepared to talk yesterday, but we got some of that done. Also, I'm sorry for the squeaky chair. Gobnik, you're so rude. You barely play War Thunder anymore. And before the roadmap, regardless if it's good or bad, is going to take forever to implement. All right, well, I'll get back on track a little bit with the WTPU, just a little bit. So I'll just kind of go ahead and say it. So I got up today, and I guess there was a bit of an oof. And so Gobnik, I'll clarify this a little bit for you. Let me go pull up some. It's the audit logs here. That's not the right server. Server settings. Audit log. Okay. All right. So, if you've been following the WTPU shenanigans, you will know. Wow, I got to do more scrolling because the bot is giving a bunch of people fucking rolls. My God. So if you're following kind of sort of what's going on with the WTPU, you will know that the server had a big oopsie, big oof, if you want to call it that, a fat L. So a lot of people are blaming Zinkyoku, which is he's a Twitch streamer, content creator for War Thunder. They're blaming him for basically like taking over the WTPU server and making it his own for the ego and the likes. Blah, 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 blah. Well, I'm just gonna tell you a little bit of that's bullshit, right? Also, holy scroll wheel. Fuck, that's just gonna take a long time to scroll. Okay, all right. Let's see right. Yeah, pull this over here. So what happened was allegedly, there's a little bit to this. Allegedly, so I left the WTPU, as I said earlier, and then I just joined back a couple days ago, but I only looked at anything today. In between my absence from that server, I'm not out of breath, doctor, all right? I'm just trying to think about how I want to phrase this. So after I left, basically, there was just, again, as I said earlier, there was basically just consistent infighting for mods and people not wanting to, let's just say not deserving to be mods. There was just a lot of bullshit going on, and I guess supposedly, allegedly, what happened is they were talking about wanting to make the Discord server, the mods and the admins wanted to make the Discord server more democratic and have some kind of a player council. And this is after Jansky stepped down as server owner and made Zink server owner. And Zink, allegedly, again, he didn't like that, so he banned some people because of that. Right? And so what happened was, I guess,
is some of the mods that were banned were, I guess, re-invited, which I'm just scrolling right now. Remove the ban, blah, blah, blah. The roll. I'm just looking at the auto log right now, and I can tell you that this is just bullshit. There we go. So there was some stuff happening. So he banned a couple of mods in the audit log right here, and then supposedly they came back, or one of them specifically, it was a Russian mod or something, came back and unleashed a raid bot on the server called Portal Security. And then what happened was they finally sorted out the raid, and on top of that, I guess some people were spamming gory, like real, like serious TOS breaking shit on the server. And then Zinc just proceeded to ban literally like 75% of the mod team, and then hired a couple of, I say hired word, but appointed a couple of people that he knows as mod for the server. So people saying that he deleted all the channels and all that, that is, where's my thing right here? That is bullshit. He didn't delete the channels. Okay. Here we go. Jasper. Red Jasper added Portal Security to the server. Added an integration for Discord. Added BOP. Portal Security kicked all of these people. Removed all of these chats. Created to see rated by fast destroyers, blah, blah, blah. I don't know what that bot is, but yeah. Kicked all those people. They're not banned, they're just kicked. Kicked all these people, deleted all these chats, basically wiping the server clean of any evidence of anything, and reset the server to square one. Right. Uh-oh. OBS, you good? Okay. Did my stream just have a hiccup for a moment? It's pretty windy outside, so I wouldn't be surprised. Huh. Okay. Weird. My internet might also be choppy. That looks fine over. Looks fine over there. Ow! That was my knee. Sorry. Stream mode. Yes, it showed buffering, but was hearing yes. Okay, sorry. So yeah. I mean, I doxed somebody. I didn't fucking dox anybody. Just saying their fucking Discord names, right? Yeah. So this bot basically raided the server, and so then Zinc proceeded to, it's up higher, but he proceeded to basically ban all the mods, and I recognized a lot of the names from people that I'd seen there for a while. Some of them, unfortunately, were caught in the crossfire. Some of them were thrown under the bus by others. It was lied about, saying that they made this meme about Zinc and blah, 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 blah. And there was, according to Zinc, there was supposedly some kind of poll that was being made to basically vote him out. Right? And I saw some dude earlier on the server coping. He was saying that the server should be owned by multiple people. Well, guess what, fuckhead? That's not how Discord works. You can't have multiple server owners. You can have multiple admins, but one person has to own the server. That's just not how Discord works, right? So, you know. Yeah. So the entire Reddit is going absolutely ape shit. No, don't go fucking with people. You know that I don't want that.
Trust me, I could have gone nuclear on a few specific people, and I decided not to because it wasn't fucking worth my time and stress, especially considering I was just about to move out and have to deal with it, and have to deal with all that bullshit. I didn't have the fucking time to deal with it, right? So, you know. And Zink's provided proof of some of this stuff, but that's what I'm saying. Basically, a bunch of conspiracies are going around on the Reddit. Oh, that Zink's fucking, you know, Zink's gone full, villain arc or something like that. Gobnik, that's not fucking doxing, you asshole. It's public fucking people that are on a Discord. That's not doxing. Shut up. Jesus Christ. So, yeah. Gobnik, if you're so obsessed with doxing, why don't you go start docking, okay? Twerking. I know you're into that docking shit, Gobnik. Yeah. Just fucking around, but yeah, that to me the audit log kind of disproves that. Now of course, again, that bot very conveniently deleted all evidence of anything. So now it's at the point it's just a he said, she said situation, but I think to an extent the audit log disproves just a little bit that Zink didn't just nuke the server. He nuked the fucking admins. And some of them were okay, but a lot of them were... Look, a lot of those admins were people that were kicking and banning people for playing the game during the boycott or ignoring other shit that should have been moderated and blah, 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 blah. Look, the server needed some kind of mod purge because it was just people saying, oh, I want to be mod and applying for it and getting it. There were people who, like I said earlier to Tankenstein, there were people who joined that said that they were content creators and they're not. And then when I joined and I said I was a content creator, then I was asked to actually verify with my YouTube channel. But they didn't. They just verified by like the channel size. They didn't like CCs were able to tell who's in the CC program or not. You know, not these random guys. So, you know, I just think the Reddit's gone full conspiracy moment. And you know, it's Reddit, but look, that's just what I wanted the last little bit to cover with the WTPU. So they supposedly made their own server. Apparently, I actually was being attempted to be thrown under the bus. Some people had the impression that when I was going to be invited back, it was to take over Zink. That was their assumption. And that was not the assumption at all, because fucking newsflash, guys. Newsflash. I talked to Zink privately. Outside of that Discord. Like, I don't just magically not communicate with him outside of that Discord. And he knew that was never the intention. And the people that supposedly were perpetuating that rumor never once had said to me, are you going to come back and replace Zink? And if they did, I said no. And, you know, when I was approached originally, back when I, was there the first time, I was approached by one person in particular who said, like, they thought that maybe I should be head mod or server owner almost, right? That I should be kind of pulling the strings. And I said, look, no, it's not. It's not my place. I could have been head mod or server owner or whatever. But unfortunately, it was too close to me moving out, to me wanting to deal with that shit while I'm in the middle of a pretty big step in my life. Man, you guys are making some serious fan fiction in the chat. And look,
I'm just giving a little bit of explanation here on why I think Zink's not a total villain. Sure, maybe deleting every single mod pretty much that was active at the time, maybe a little bit too much. And like I said, we've already apologized to one or two of them in particular. But they were lied about. That was the problem. Is people were lying and backstabbing and blah 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 blah. Ironically, the more people larped about it being a union and communist, the more it started to fucking turn out like like some serious Stalin backstabbing kind of shit. Or what was it? Was it Trotsky that got assassinated or something in his own home by, was it Lenin or somebody else for going against the party? Like it's seriously turned into some real communism. It's a party kind of shit, right? I think it was Trotsky. Actually, this is coming up in my head. This is what I'm thinking of when I'm talking about the Communist Party right now. Let's see. Please yes. Right here. I used to listen to this all the time. Oh my god. Let me set this up. This I used to listen to like a hard bass thing sometimes when I played certain games. This is exactly what this is the WTP. we got Marx over here and Mao and Castro and communism. It's a party. Oh shit. Just I don't know. Pretty cringe. Yeah, you listen to it too, Cheese? Yeah. But yeah, no, like on top of all this shit, a lot of this came down to just a lot of Discord drama, unnecessary Discord drama. Is really what it came down to, and people just wanting to have their 5 seconds of fame. Ironically, I was accused of that. Of it being like a 5 seconds of fame, or I was clout chasing thing. I'm not fucking clout chasing. If I was clout chasing, I'd have fucking 30,000 subscribers right now, being a fucking piece of shit. I'm not clout chasing. If I was clout chasing, I'd be making 10 fucking videos. Some of the people accusing me of clout chasing are people clout chasing, right? My cash cow video. Fuck you, doctor. That's what I thought it was. Objectively, that's what I thought War Thunder was and is. And that's what it is. Look where we are, bitch. Look where we are. And that's exactly what it is. Being a cash cow. That's exactly what War Thunder is. And I know we meme and we joke and stuff and, Steel X cringe. Steel cloud chasing, yeah, like Gomnick over here making fun of me. But at the end of the day, we all loved this game. And we all had, we saw the potential in it. Even made it equal. Oh, Doctor, you're such a troll. But at one point we all loved this game, and we all saw its potential, or see whatever. So, it's just sad. It's just so sad. This kind of shit, the way that this shit kind of turns out, and I said earlier, it's not a union. You're not employees. You just stop fucking LARPing. It's consumer versus producer. It's the age-old battle. And clearly the War Thunder community wasn't ready for it. But, this is a really important takeaway. I'm gonna stop with the squeaking for a second. I'm gonna lean in. Cheese, you better be ready to timestamp this, BB. All right, this is a really important thing I want you to timestamp. All right. The War Thunder community no longer deserves pity when Gaijin decides to fuck you over. If you complain on the forums, elbozo. You complain in game, elbozo. You complain on Discord, this is including me, elbozo. Alright? There's no pity for it anymore. Beer? I'm looking at you. You say about to cry over War Thunder. Bitch, I know how you play. I know how you rant. Right? Elbozo. Yeah, I did just ratio myself. But seriously, that's really important. The War Thunder community does not deserve pity anymore. We had a chance, and they fucking blew it. All right. And that was I think I forgot to mention earlier when Tankenstein was here, and I hate myself for it. Was that, and he would probably attest to this. A lot of people would have been on board with the union had it not had a certain like aura to it. I don't know. This is what weirds me out. There's two things. First of all, people like. There were communist memes. There's communist memes, right? Like, I understand that, right? But and of course there was the weird radical people, but those people weren't the majority. And if they were Redditors. You know. And that was why they didn't get a lot of support. One of the admins in particular had said some pretty obscene shit about Asians in the past, allegedly. I don't remember if I saw evidence for it or not, but a lot of Asian content creators that you definitely would have wanted to had on board. Not on board because he was an admin, and guess what? He was one of the people that wasn't in the loop a lot of the time and just kind of was just being a piece of shit and didn't really help anybody who was trying to be productive. So, that kind of that aura that was around the Discord, and again, it was started as a joke, like, but the joke could have been turned into something legit, and there were people there that were fighting to turn it into something legit, and I genuinely apologize and feel bad for everybody who wanted some kind of transparency in that Discord and really wanted to see something continue going on with it. And it not work out that way, But yeah, something I was talking about it earlier in my Discord VC with a few of my friends, and people got their own opinion, but fuck, what was I gonna say? I think the boycott, the Steam reviews, they worked. They did what they had to do. They got Gaijin's attention. The problem and the part where it failed, this is from someone on the inside, not fucking tech, not just people that maybe got the hearsay and random clips of fucking Discord bullshit, right? Because there's more names I could say right now, but it's not worth my fucking time, right? I'm just saying, from someone who was kind of on the inside of the whole thing, the main reason why it failed was because nobody wanted to fucking grab it by the balls, get their own pair of balls, and say, this is what we're doing. They wanted this overly democratic, just, we gotta hash it out type thing. And then when I questioned them about, what do you plan on doing with this? And I was given vague answers and all this bullshit. When I was trying to encourage some kind of action, or a few other people that were trying to do it, it was met with just vague bullshit, and in the end, just nothing. And when anything did try to happen, the people with certain permissions just shot down everything else, and it wasn't productive. Because it was just a bunch of random people. So, I'm watching Gomnik in chat and you're distracting me. I hate you. But, yeah, that I feel bad. I feel bad for the majority of the people there. Honestly. I'm not some fucking grand messiah. I'm just simply advocating that I think people should just have thicker skin, and they shouldn't have to get so screwed over by Gaijin to kind of, have a little bit of common sense. That's what I think. You can argue not everybody watches YouTube, and not everybody watches Twitch, and not everybody goes on Discord, Reddit, whatever. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, everybody's experiencing it when they play the game, whether they play it for fucking 5 hours or 5 minutes. It's stupid to pretend that the game is not, to pretend that the game is in a great state. I would say this earlier. I forgot to mention this too. I remember, I would probably say maybe it was 2016, 2017, maybe 2018. 2016 to 2018 probably range, where I could consistently grind a vehicle that was 380,000 RP with a premium and premium time, with a premium vehicle, premium time. Like, let's say, for instance, an air. By the time, let's say I'm researching the F5E. By the time I used the F5C or whatever to research the F5E, I had exactly enough SL to buy and crew it. Like playing it for consistently for a couple of days and getting pretty consistent performance. I'd say that I had like a pretty even grind. Now today it's like if you go grind the F16, like you ain't gonna have enough SL for the F16. If you're broke, you have like 500,000 SL or whatever. Still about to for rights. So I would say that there was a point in time where it definitely, it was definitely I would say at least a consistent grind. Wasn't great, but it was consistent. So I would say for air, I totally suck now with air. I've sucked in air battles for years, but in ground, like I'd say I'm pretty consistently within the top 5, if not just the top 3 most of the time in ground. And I think that I'm getting pretty fucked on SL gains, and I have premium time and premium vehicle lineups, and I don't think it's a skill issue, honestly, because it's like there's like I've watched some Twitch streamers, they get nukes consistently every game, and they're not breaking even, but they're really not getting much more silver lions with the bonus from dropping the nuke than I am in a normal game. Gonna be SL. No, I'm just saying. I'd say from my experience a couple years back, like grinding the F5E and stuff like that, or whatever. Like just if I was grinding in air battles, ground a little bit similar, but in air battles, if I was grinding a vehicle that was 380,000 RP, by the time I researched that vehicle with the RP that I was getting, I had a decent chunk of SL. I was able to buy it and crew it, and maybe expert the crew, or at least just have enough SL left over to like feel like I'm not at a loss. So, but nowadays, like it doesn't really feel like that. So, I just feel bad for everybody in this situation. There was so much just lying and just Discord drama, and I was always trying to get people away from the Discord drama. Just like leave it alone. Like if someone's saying some super obscene shit in chat, or they're posting whatever, like, sure, kick them, warn them, kick them, ban them, whatever. But fucking banning people for playing the game during the boycott, like, I said, don't play the game and don't pay for anything. Specifically, don't pay for anything. And don't play the game if you have the self-control. And that's the thing. Some people, they don't have the self-control, that once they're in-game and they see, Sav 120 premium on sale, they're going to buy it. You know what I mean? Like it's that carrot dangling in front of their face, and they're on a treadmill and they're trying to go get the carrot. So Again, I'm distracting myself with chat. Fuck. Shit, what was I just saying now? I lost my train of thought. I'm getting tired. Gobnick's not gonna be nice, dude. He's vile, bro. He is in DCS competitive, okay? If you thought I may have a neck beard, bro, his beard is dripping down to his ball sack, dude. He is the neckbeardiest neckbeard. He's like, I play Sadal tournaments in the F-15C, okay? Gobnick sweats in flight, and I just sweat in a flight of stairs. Wow, you're funny, Doctor. You're funny. Oh man, I don't know what else I can really say on the matter. I'm so mad I had to do this on, what is it, a Monday? Is it Tuesday? Is today a Monday? Yeah, I wanted to do this over the weekend, but it is what it is. Dude, Doctor's vile. Or Severstar or whatever on YouTube now, but domestic violence. I got a joke for you, Cheese. In person, when you're with your buddies, you know, you're with a guy, he's a male, right? But when you're talking to a guy over the internet, he's an email. It's a hell of a dad joke. I had better setup for it earlier, but it's a good, with some refinement from a dad with a massive beer belly, it would be a good dad joke. Email. It's like a 1990s dad joke, bro. It's like the beginning of the internet dad joke. Find that shit. I use Gmail. I use Gmail too, dude. Who about I email you my balls? Oh boy. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think I got much else to say in the topic now. I felt like I was more ready to talk about it yesterday. I should have wrote some stuff down, but I had a weird day. You know, I am thinking, now that I have my own little nice little room here for my computer, I'm thinking of when I stream, if I do ever play War Thunder again. See, that's what's sad. I was so ready and excited to move out. You know, I was ready, like, even with War Thunder's problems, I was like, you know, I'm going to be able to stream War Thunder, and, like, I might actually bust out the webcam and start streaming with a webcam. Of course, where I have it, it would be for maybe my head tracking. I would probably have to get another camera, but now it's like, I don't know if I even want to do that anymore. I thought it would be exciting for people to just roast me for my face and everything, but it's probably a good thing. I mean, I already show my face on Discord sometimes with, like, my friends and stuff, but I don't know if maybe putting my face up on YouTube is probably a great idea, especially for what I've gotten myself into now, but it was something I always looked forward to, was having my own place and being able to stream and not have distractions or whatever, like my parents or the dryer and all that shit in the background, and everybody remembers that. Dream has decided to go back because, hey, bro, like, your face is all over the fucking internet. You're so famous, your face is going to be everywhere.
There's no point in walking it back. And Dream's not even an ugly dude. He looks fine. I don't know if I've never watched his content. I don't even know what his voice sounds like. But like he just looks like a dude. I don't know. He's a dude. Like, you know, giving the guy so much hate. Feet reveal when. Feet. I could do an ASMR War Thunder video with my feet up in the webcam for you fucking perverts. Stream with a feet cam. You know, Gopnik. You know how Bruce Leroy wears the cowboy boots when he's flying helicopters in VR? I'll do that. I'll do some DCS streams and I'll have a feet cam, and I'll buy some rudder pedals. I'll buy some rudder pedals and it'll be the feet cam. Buy from Dreamer. Never thought it was him leaving YouTube or something. People watch sim racing with foot cam. Yeah, weird. Use feet to play joy. You know, I could do that. Here, my joystick's right here. Let me see. I'm gonna put it up on my desk here for a second. Let's see. I'm a pretty flexible guy for a big boy, so no, I'm gonna cramp my foot doing that. I fucking hate having flat feet. I cramp my feet up so easily. Oh my god. No, that ain't happening. Cheese is gonna timestamp the Steel X feet reveal. Oh, doctor, you're done, dude. You're done. You're done. I don't know. Well, we'll see how many people watch this in post. I don't really know if this will answer anybody's burning questions, but I don't know. It is what it is. I'm so sad Tankenstein had to leave short, but he's a busy guy. Can't fault him. I love doing these podcasts and just fucking around. Get Tech next. No. I don't want to talk to him. No. No. I've already talked to him after that whole thing he had with Koala. And I thought he was just reaming Koala out with like a fucking... He was like trying to like interrogate him and not have a conversation. I don't think Tech's genuine. Maybe he just has hot takes that I don't agree with, but I don't know. I don't like him. I don't personally hate him or have a problem with him. I just think that he just has like a way of just, I don't know, just getting under people's skin or something. I don't know what his thing is. I don't want to talk to him. We almost did do a podcast a long time ago. We almost did, but at that point it would have just been, I knew what Tech was gonna do. He would have just at that point just been bullying me off of the internet, and I'm like, no. Same as Secrethead, they're almost the same. Seek's he's chill. See, fuck, I'm really gonna go down this rabbit hole now. Dude, you don't know how bad I want to have a podcast with Spookson, dude. You have no idea. I don't know what I would talk to with him about. I know that he was approached to join the WTPU, and he said, "Please do not contact me." I knew that was a thing, so he definitely doesn't want that shit. But, dude, I want to talk to Spookson all the time. I want to play with him. I want to collab with Spookson. Just play the HSTVL, dude. I wouldn't give a shit. Because people will be like, "Oh, look at it. It's two furries playing War Thunder because of my fucking name." They think I'm a furry. I got teased by Codename Ferret, which I don't know if he'll watch the stream. He used to watch some of them. But Code was always teasing me, saying I was a furry. And then somebody else was like, just embrace it, Steel. I'm like, I'm not a fucking furry. I just made a name when I was a kid, and I didn't think about the implications in the future. Fuck you guys. In chat. He wants to play with him? Yeah, fuck you. Yeah, I wanna play War Thunder with Spookston, dude. Alright? He's awesome. Just play America while we both make fun of German mains, and then when we get our asses kicked by the Russians, we'll just mob. That's what I want to see. I want to collab with Spookston. I want to play top tier America with him. Not just the HSTVL, just top tier America for like a whole day and just suffer together. How saying I want to play War Thunder with Spookston is sus? What is wrong with you? You know what sounds sus, Gobnik? When you say, "Oh, Steel, why don't you play DCS? It's a better game. Come play with me." You want me to play with you? You want me to play you? The Wolfpack that I find out is not a furry gangbang. Steel wants to play with Spookston all day. Oh, Spookston, if you ever watch this, buddy, please. I wanna collab. I know you're a busy guy. This is funny. I've talked to him in private a few times, but you haven't touched DCS in months. That's cap, bro. That's cap. That's Combat Air Patrol cap, all right? Actually, are you doing your flight training now? You're like pretty like deep into that? Oh, you've been... Are you still flying CRJ 900s or 700s? Digital cock simulation. Oh my god, why are you such a CRJ fanatic, dude? Oh no. He's upgraded to twin engine. Big. He's upgraded to heavy. Spookston and Jube make such a chill content. Yeah, Jube's pretty cool too. I wouldn't say we're friends, but we are pretty friendly with each other. I never played with Jube. I asked to play with him on stream, but he didn't want to just because it would ruin the flow of his stream, and totally fine. Dude, I miss playing with Mystic Man all the time. Like, just playing on his streams. Like, he's like Gobnik. He just calls me shit the whole time. He's like, Steel, you're so retarded. El Bozo, El Bozo, El Bozo. Like, I fucking love it, dude. Mystic's hilarious. I'm just sad he got banned off of Twitch for saying shit. Twitch. Don't play Israel. Gets banned. Gets banned from Twitch. Or he said Israel is a shit nation or something like that, and he meant in the game because he was getting like butt fucked by an Israeli vehicle or something like that, or he was playing Israel getting shit on. I don't know. Then he got yeeted. Poor Mystic. I mean, Mystic said a lot of shit that probably breaks Twitch TOS anyways, because Twitch rules are stupid. Like, I mean, YouTube's not great either, but there's, like, I can at least say retarded on YouTube, because I can mark my content, like, not safe for kids. So, like, me saying retarded hopefully shouldn't get me fucked, but... Yeah, Twitch, like, you literally can't say retarded. And, like, look, I get some people might not like me saying that, but I grew up when I was a little boy. I was a wee lad. I grew up in the COD MW2 lobby days as a squeaker, all right? I wasn't one of the 20-something-year-olds in MW2. I was one of the squeakers, bro. The shit that I heard as a 8-year-old? When did MW2 drop? I was probably not even in double digits of age. And I was at my cousin's house getting all kinds of shit. Oh wow, Soviets here. Wow, this is a whole family reunion. Why don't you two pop into VC on my server after I end the stream? How about that? I miss you too. I was hearing your voice. Now that sounds sus. Dude. I got called every slur under the sun. I put on my cousin's headset one time. He was playing Battlefield Bad Company 2 with his friends. And they were like, "Oh, are you so-and-so's cousin?" And I said, "Yeah." And the first word out of their mouth was some obscene shit that I can't say on YouTube. So, yeah. I grew up in that age. None of that stuff. Gabnick, watch it. I remember cutting an Angolan man's head in Black Ops 2 when I was in like 4th grade. Okay, fourth grade means you were like 8 to 7? 6? No, 6 is first, right? Grease or steel. That was a lot weirder than that. Right? Wait, 6th grade is like your first grade. No. Yo, 6th grade. What? You say 4th? 4th grade. First grade is like 6 or 7. And then, yeah. Okay. Like 8 or 9. I just can't do math, bro. I can't do math. I can't count right now. Yeah, 10. Yeah, around about the same age then, yeah. Yeah, it was some obscene shit back in the day. And now, like, people... I'm just not gonna go down there. It's just, people are just so fucking sensitive. I can't take it. I can't take it, dude. Motherfuckers want to be a pilot and can't count. Bro, you don't need to count to be a pilot. I flew, and I landed the plane, and I didn't need to count 1, 2, 3, or do my ABCs, and I made it, alright? Six is like really? No. I think kindergarten is when you're like 5. 4, 5. I was born at a weird time, though. Because when I graduated, I wasn't 18. Like, a lot of kids in my grade, when we graduated high school, they were 18. I wasn't 18. I didn't turn 18 till what would have been the following school year. When ATC telling me numbers, I'm like, huh? Bro, I got nervous when talking to ATC because I didn't even know what to say. And it was simple as saying, November, whatever, ready to taxi, what was it? Ready to taxi with information whiskey or something like that. Ready to taxi runway 223, whatever it was simple as. And then when the instructor took over and they were like, taxi to runway 23 via Baba Quebec, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, what? Whoa, slow down. It's not counting that is the problem for me flying. It's the fact that everybody talks so fast. And it's funny because I talk fast. And I don't even understand half the shit I'm saying. So I can't visualize it. It's really funny. So with driving, right? Like with anybody who has a car with Apple CarPlay, like think about it this way, right? A lot of us grew up on playing Grand Theft Auto 3 and 4 and 5, right? And you know how in Grand Theft Auto you get the mini map on the bottom, right? Think about like when you plug in Apple CarPlay in your phone and the map, like the Apple Map, Google Maps, whatever, is your radar from GTA. Like if I'm trying to go somewhere, if I don't plug in the address, I'm going in and I'm zooming in to see the road names. I'm zooming out, shit like that. That's how I navigate. So like if I'm at an airport and they're telling me to taxi to runway, blah, 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 I got to be like having a fucking GPS, right? I got to have like the DCS F10 map. Dude, I can't memorize flight charts. I suck.
Like even in my on my knee board, I had the airport information for my airport. I know they're there for a reason. I'm just stupid. Oh, I wasn't allowed to have an iPad as an e-board. They wanted me to learn the old way. Yes, I can't exactly. I told that to one of my buddies about navigating around town. I said I remember the entire Liberty City map from GTA 4 and the entirety of San Andreas from GTA 5 and a little bit of Vice City on the back of my fucking head. I know every single nook and cranny of those games. But I, for the life of me, couldn't navigate my own neighborhood till I was like 16, 17. Can't wait for you to be flying my tax dollars in the Air Force. I don't know if I'm going to make it to the Air Force, buddy. Not anymore. The school's making you buy. Because you're doing like an actual like school. I was just doing like a program through the airport. I know I live in a grid neighborhood. That's what makes it confusing. I have to use... I navigate off of landmarks, bud. IFR flying? Not happening. Don't put me in charge of an IFR flight plan. Ain't happening. VFR? Easy. Yeah, you've been in my house. I know. Look, when we went to Detroit for the air show, buddy... I know how to navigate. Though, fuck Detroit. That place is scary. Fuck driving around there, but... I know how to get around my neighborhood now. I have no problems with that. But, like, when somebody's like, oh, do you know the bowling alley on such and such street? It's at the corner of Main and fucking Hullabaloo. I don't know what they're talking about. I'm just like, is the bowling alley by... the Tim Hortons with the red and white stripe windows or whatever the fuck, and they'll be like, yeah. And I'll be like, okay, I know where it is. I don't know when you're saying like, oh, it's off of the right hand side of the panhandle of transit. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Dude, Detroit left turns. Fuck that. Alright, well, I've been off topic now for 20-something minutes. So, I think I'll just end it here before it gets any longer. So, geez, if you have some timestamps for me, go ahead, send them to me. I'll appreciate it. I'm getting tired now, but yeah. I didn't know Tank was gonna have to go so suddenly. I'm very sorry, but so yeah, I'll end here. So for those of you that were new and you stuck around, thanks for sticking around so long. Yeah, it's an accomplishment, Doctor, to be able to stream and talk to somebody who's bigger than me. Okay. I mean, I talked with Tank before. God, fuck you with the spam. God damn it. Alright. I'm gonna cut the stream before Gobnik spans more L's and more skulls. So everybody have a good night. Just like, share, subscribe if you haven't already. Share the podcast, at least the good bit of it, because you know Gobnik's over here just elbows away. Just stop. All right. Good night.